The whiskey scorched my throat. Anna thrust the paper at me. My farm stolen. Dust swirled in the barn's faint glow. Amarillo 2023, Dad's memorial. Hay bales lined the walls. Greg smirked, his boots gleaming. Dad's leather belt weighed in my hand. Its etched initials pressed my skin. Family filled the space. Their eyes dodged mine. I studied the deed. My signature forged uneven a lie. Anna's voice sliced through. Sign it, Ethan, or you're done. Greg's ice clinked in his glass. The tractor rumbled outside. I gripped the belt. This was my land. Dad's promise. My sweat. They wanted a mall. Their dream, my loss. Memory hit sharp. 2021, I patched the barn roof alone. Anna swore she'd help. Never came. Dad's words echoed. Keep the land, Ethan. It's us. Anna's heels tapped the floor. Tessa lingered back, face blank. Murmurs faded. Hay and betrayal choked the air. I didn't yell. My voice stayed low. This isn't my signature. Anna's smirk twitched. Greg stepped near. His cologne stung. No scene, Ethan. The bulb flickered. Shadows danced. My boots scuffed dirt. Eyes watched. No one spoke. I stood alone, an outsider in my barn. The paper shook in my hand. Sign, lose all. Fight, lose them. Dad's belt warmed my grip. I stared at Anna, then Greg. Their mall wouldn't rise here. Not ever. The jukebox hummed, Dad's old country tune. I folded the deed, tucked it in my jacket. War began. I walked out. Keys jangled. Night air hit me. Crisp. Fields smelled dry. My pickup sat dusty under stars. I didn't turn back. I swore they'd pay. The farm was mine. I'd take it back. Would you fight back or walk away? Have you been betrayed by family? Share below. Where are you listening from? I woke to the tractor's low rumble. Coffee steamed in my mug. Amarillo 2023. My trailer's window framed the farm. Fields stretched wide dry under dawn's glow. Dust coated my boots by the door. Dad's leather belt hung on the chair, its initials catching light. I sipped coffee. Bitter. My phone buzzed. Anna's text, meeting today. Be there. No warmth, just orders. I dressed slow. Flannel shirt, worn jeans. The pickup's keys jangled in my pocket. My life was this farm. Coal land, 200 acres, all I had left. I'd worked it since Dad died. Fences, crops, sweat. Anna and Greg lived in town chasing their mall dream. I stayed here, alone. Mornings started with coffee, radio humming country. Evenings ended at Rusty's Diner, whiskey and quiet. The farm was my pulse. I drove to the barn. Hay dust swirled. The safe sat in the corner locked. Dad's old toolbox rested nearby, rusted shut. Last night's forged deed burned in my mind. My signature, but not mine. I checked the tractor's oil hands steady. Routine kept me grounded. The belt's leather creaked as I moved. Anna's smirk lingered. Greg's ice clinking. I shook it off. Work waited. Flashback hit. 2020. Anna sat across from me here in the barn. Ethan, sell the farm. We'll split the cash. Her eyes gleamed. I refused. Dad's voice echoed, land's our route. I fixed her car, paid her debts, kept the peace. She smiled, then called me brother. I believed her. My weakness, I trusted blood. Always had, always lost. I headed to Rusty's Diner. Neon buzzed outside. The jukebox played low, a steel guitar. Mark Hensley, my lawyer friend, sat at the bar. His tie was loose, coffee cold. You look rough, Ethan. His voice was blunt. I slid onto the stool. Whiskey bottle gleamed behind the counter. Anna's pushing a deed, I said. It's forged. Mark leaned in. Check your safe. Now. His words hit hard. I nodded. The glass felt cool in my hand. Back home, I sat at my desk. Papers piled, high bills, crop logs. The safe key rested in my palm, cold heavy. I'd found it in Dad's toolbox yesterday. Odd place for it. My laptop glowed. An email from Greg popped up. Farm transfer final. Signatures filed. My gut twisted. I hadn't signed. The trailer's bulb flickered. Wind rattled the windows. Something was wrong. Flashback again. 2018, Dad and I walked the fields. Sunset burned red. He handed me the belt. Yours now, Ethan. Anna watched from the porch, silent. I thought she understood. I was wrong. I'd always been the one to fix things. Fences, debts, fights. Anna took, I gave. That was our dance. My fault for not seeing it. I drove to Anna's townhouse. Her car gleamed in the drive. Greg's too. I knocked. She opened the door, face tight. What, Ethan? Her tone was ice. Why's Greg emailing about signatures, I asked. She crossed her arms. It's done. Move on. The porch light hummed. Her perfume stung my nose. I didn't sign, I said. She shut the door. Hard. I stood there, keys dug into my palm. Tessa's text lit my phone. Talk to Mark. Hurry. My cousin always dodging fights. Why now? I drove back heart heavy. The diner's neon glowed in my rear view. Mark's warning stuck. Check the safe. I parked by the barn. Stars blinked above. The safe key didn't fit. Wrong key. My breath caught. Someone had swapped it. Would you dig deeper or let it go? Have you ever found a clue to family betrayal? Share below. Where are you listening from? The diner's neon buzzed sharp against the morning quiet. Coffee cooled in my chipped mug. Anna's text glared from my phone. Meet at the farm. Noon. No warmth, just a cold edge. Amarillo, 2023. My boots, scuffed from last night's barn standoff, rested heavy on the floor. Dad's leather belt hugged my waist, its buckle catching the diner's fluorescent glow. The jukebox hummed low, an old Johnny Cash tune, steady like a heartbeat. My keys sat on the table, scratched and worn next to the forged deed's memory. I sipped the coffee, bitter like the betrayal at Dad's memorial. That forged signature, my name, their lie twisted in my gut. The safe key, wrong one, weighed in my pocket. Someone swapped it. Anna, Greg, Tessa's text echoed, talk to Mark. Hurry. My cousin always dodging fights, now nudging me. Why the diner smelled of grease and hay, familiar grounding. Farmers at the counter swapped crop talk, their voices low. I felt their glances. Word about the farm was spreading a slow poison. I stared at the keys. My pickup waited outside, dusty, loyal. This farm was my life. 200 acres of coal land, my blood and sweat. Anna and Greg lived in town, chasing their mall, their shiny future. I stayed here rooted. The belt's initials pressed my skin, Dad's mark. I'd trusted family too long. Anna's smirk from the memorial burned in my mind. Greg's ice clinking in his glass. My chest tightened. I wasn't ready for this fight, but running wasn't me. Flashback cut deep. 2019, Anna sat in my trailer, eyes red, begging for a loan. I'll lose the house, Ethan. I sold my old tractor, paid her debt. She hugged me, voice soft. You're my rock. I believed her. My weakness blood meant everything. I gave, she took. Always. The diner's jukebox faded. I gripped the mug, its handle rough. That hug felt like a lie, now a hook to keep me soft. I drove to the farm. Dust trailed my pickup, swirling in the noon heat. Fields shimmered, endless, mine. The barn loomed, paint peeling, a tired giant. Anna's SUV gleamed beside Greg's truck, too clean for this dirt. I parked. The engine ticked as it cooled. My hand brushed the belt leather warm. I stepped out. Gravel crunched under my boots. Anna stood by the barn door, arms crossed, her face all business. Greg leaned on a hay bale flask in hand, smirking like he'd already won. Ethan, we need to settle this, Anna said. Her voice was sharp, rehearsed. She slid a new deed across a crate paper crisp. Sign it. For the family. Greg sipped his whiskey. The fumes hit me sour. I picked up the deed. Same forged signature, jagged mocking. The barn's roof creaked in the wind. I looked at Anna. Her eyes were cold like Mom's when I disappointed Dad. My throat burned, not from whiskey, but shame. I'd let this happen. Flashback again. 2020. Anna pitched them all at dinner, her voice bright. Progress, Ethan. I laughed it off. Dad backed me. Land stays coal. Anna went quiet. I missed her silence, then the planning behind it. I'd fixed her messes, kept the peace. My fault for not seeing her greed. The deed trembled in my hand. I didn't sign the last one, I said, voice low. Greg chuckled. Doesn't matter. It's filed. My pulse spiked. The belt's buckle dug into my hip. Why the rush, I asked. Anna's jaw tightened. The mall's moving forward. Sign or you're cut out. Her perfume stung, too sweet for this barn. Greg stepped closer. Don't drag this, Ethan. You're just a farmer. The word hit like a blade. Hay dust scratched my eyes. The tractor's growl rumbled far off. I wanted to tear the deed, shove it back. But I held still, fists clenched. My boots scuffed the dirt. I wasn't just a farmer. This was my land. I met Mark at his office that evening. Neon hummed outside, casting shadows. His desk drowned in files, coffee stains on his mug. "They're pushing hard," he said, voice rough. "Check the county records," I nodded. "Deeds filed. My signature." Mark leaned back, chair creaking. "We'll need the original. Find it." His words were a lifeline, sharp and real. The safe key burned in my pocket. Wrong key. Someone's move. The office smelled of ink and dust. My hands shook, not from fear but rage held tight. Back at the trailer, night pressed in. The bulb flickered weak. Wind rattled the windows, a low moan. Papers piled on my desk, bills, crop logs, the forged deed glaring among them. I opened my laptop. Greg's email glowed, "Project greenlit. Thanks for cooperating." My gut churned. I hadn't cooperated. The belt's leather warmed against me. Diesel lingered on my boots. Anna's voice rang, "Sign or you're cut out." My fingers hovered over the keys. I wanted to scream, but silence was my strength. Flashback. 2018. Dad and I walked the field, sunset, blazing red. He handed me the belt. "Yours now, Ethan." Anna watched from the porch, silent. I thought she understood our roots. Wrong. I'd fixed her life, her fights, her debts. Kept the family whole. She planned while I worked. My weakness, peace over truth. No more. I grabbed the safe key cold in my palm. It didn't fit the barn safe. Why, I called Tessa. Her voice was soft, shaky. "Ethan, check Greg's office." "He's sloppy." The line crackled. My trailer's clock ticked loud in the dark. "Why help now?" I asked. She paused. "Your family." I didn't trust it, not fully. The jukebox's cash tune played in my head, steady, mournful. I stood, keys jangling. The safe key was wrong. Greg's office wasn't locked. My pulse thrummed. I'd find the truth or lose everything. Would you confront them now or keep digging? Have you faced family pushing you out? Share below. Where are you listening from? The barn's safe creaked open. My flashlight caught the glint of Dad's original deed. My signature, clean, real, not forged. Amarillo 2023. Hay dust stung my eyes. The wrong key from my pocket hadn't fit, but a spare in the toolbox did. Someone wanted this hidden. Anna's face flashed in my mind, her cold eyes at the diner. Greg's smirk. My boots scuffed the dirt floor. Dad's leather belt tightened as I breathed. I sat on a hay bale, deed in hand. The paper was worn edges, soft from years. Dad's handwriting marked the margins, his steady loops. This was my farm, 200 acres, my route. The forged deed Anna pushed, filed legal, a lie, burned in my memory. The barn's roof groaned under night wind. My pickup's keys dug into my thigh. I smelled diesel faint from the tractor outside. My pulse thrummed. They thought I'd fold. Flashback. 2021. Anna stood in this barn begging for cash. Just this once, Ethan. I sold my best plow, bailed her out. She smiled warm, promising loyalty. I trusted her. My weakness, family first always. Now her betrayal cut deeper than any blade. The deed's weight anchored me. I'd been blind too long. The flashlight flickered, casting shadows. I wasn't blind anymore. I called Anna from the barn. Her voice crackled sharp. "Ethan, it's late." What I held the real deed, voice low. Found Dad's deed. My signature's real. Silence stretched. Her breath caught. "You're wrong," she snapped. "It's done." The line went dead. My chest tightened. The barn's bulb hummed weak. Her lie was a wall, but I'd break it. Greg's email glowed in my mind, Project greenlit. Not yet, it wasn't. I drove to Mark's office, dawn breaking. Neon buzzed outside, pale against the sky. His desk was chaos, files, coffee stains, a half-empty mug. I slid the deed across. "This changes everything," Mark said, eyes sharp. "They forged it, Ethan. We can fight." His chair creaked as he leaned back. The room smelled of ink and dust. My belt's buckle pressed my hip. How, I asked. "County records, witnesses," he said. "It's a war now." Flashback, 2020. Greg pitched his mall at Rusty's diner. I shut him down. "Farm's not for sale." Dad nodded, proud. Anna sat quiet, sipping wine. I missed her calculating stare. My fault for trusting peace. Now Mark's voice pulled me back. "Greg's sloppy," he said. "Left a paper trail." My hands shook, not fear, but rage held tight. The office's neon flickered. I nodded. War it was. I checked Greg's office that night. His downtown building gleamed all glass and ego. The lock was cheap, no match for a farmer's tools. Inside papers sprawled contracts, emails, mall plans. One caught my eye, my forged signature, stamped filed. My throat burned. The desk's wood was cool under my fingers. A whiskey bottle sat half empty, Greg's brand. I photographed the papers. My phone's flash cut the dark. Tessa texted as I left. "Found something. Call me." Her words felt like a trap, but I needed her. I drove back, trailer's bulb flickering. The deed rested on my desk beside bills and crop logs. Wind howled outside, rattling windows. I smelled hay on my jacket mixed with diesel. The belt's leather warmed my grip. Anna's denial echoed. "You're wrong. She wasn't just wrong, she was scared." I met Tessa at Rusty's jukebox, humming low. Her face was pale, eyes darting. "Greg bragged about the deed," she said, voice soft. "He thinks you'll quit." My coffee cooled untouched. "I won't," I said. She nodded, hesitant. "Be careful, Ethan." The diner's neon buzzed steady. My keys jangled as I stood. Greg thought I'd quit. He didn't know me. Back home, I sat alone. The trailer's clock ticked loud in the dark. Papers piled high, the real deed on top. My laptop glowed, Greg's email open. "Thanks for cooperating." My fist clenched. I hadn't cooperated. The belt's initials pressed my skin, Dad's mark. I'd trusted family, let them take. No more. Mark's words rang, "It's a war." I was ready. The forged deed was their move. This deed was mine. Flashback. 2018. Dad walked me through the fields, sunset red. "This land's yours, Ethan." Anna watched from the porch, silent. I thought she shared our pride. Wrong. She planned while I worked, my weakness believing in blood. Now I saw clear. The trailer's bulb dimmed. Wind carried the scent of dry fields. I held the deed, its paper heavy. Greg's office papers were my weapon. The fight was on. I stood, keys in hand. The safe's spare key gleamed on my desk. Someone hid the truth, but I'd found it. Anna's lie, Greg's greed, they'd fall. My boots scuffed the floor. The jukebox's tune played in my head, steady, mournful. I wasn't just a farmer, I was a coal. This land was mine, and I'd take it back. What would you do with proof of betrayal? Strike now or plan your move. Have you uncovered a family lie? Tell us your story below. Bulldozers tore my fence down. Metal groaned, wood splintered. My farm bled. Amarillo, 2023. I stood by my trailer, boots sunk in mud. Rain drummed the roof cold on my neck. Greg's crew worked fast, their maul rising on my land. The forged deed had won. Dad's leather belt hung heavy, its buckle pressing my hip. My pickup sat nearby, windshield streaked. The air smelled of diesel and betrayal. I gripped an empty whiskey bottle. Last night I drained it alone. The real deed found in the barn sat useless on my desk. Anna's lie filed legal choked me. Greg's email mocked project greenlit. I trusted family, believed in blood. Now my fields were a graveyard of dirt and steel. The trailer's bulb flickered weak. My keys lay scattered, useless. I was losing everything. Flashback, 2019. Dad and I fixed the fence, sweat on our brows. He clapped my shoulder. "This is yours, Ethan." Anna drove up late, promising help. She didn't lift a finger. I let it slide. My weakness, keeping peace always. Now her silence then made sense. She'd planned this theft for years. Rain soaked my flannel. The belt's initials burned against me. I'd failed Dad. I walked the farm's edge. Mud clung to my boots. A bulldozer's growl drowned the wind. Greg's crew didn't look my way. My land carved open wasn't mine anymore. The barn stood, distant paint peeling, a ghost. I saw Anna's smirk from the memorial, Greg's flask glinting. My chest ached, not from cold but shame. I'd let them take it. The whiskey bottle slipped, shattering on a rock. Tessa's text lit my phone. "Meet me at Rusty's. Please." Her voice when I called shook. "They're lying, Ethan." I found proof. I didn't trust her fully. She'd stayed neutral too long, but I had nothing left. The trailer's clock ticked loud in my skull. I grabbed my keys, the belt creaked as I moved. Rain streaked my face, mixing with grit. I drove Diner's neon glowing ahead. Rusty's jukebox hummed a low wail. Tessa sat in a booth, coffee untouched. Her eyes darted nervous. Greg's got a second set of books, she said, voice soft. Your deed's a fraud. My mug was cold, handle rough. Why now, I asked. She looked away. I should have spoken sooner. The diner smelled of grease and regret. My boots stuck to the floor. Tessa slid a USB drive across. Bank records. Use them. I drove to Mark's office, rain pounding. Neon buzzed, casting shadows. His desk was buried in files, coffee stains dark. I handed him the USB. Tessa's proof, I said. Mark plugged it in, eyes narrowing. Greg's been skimming, he said. Your land funded it. The chair creaked as he leaned back. My pulse spiked. The belt's leather warmed my grip. Can we win, I asked. Mark nodded. One shot, Ethan. Take it. Flashback. 2020. Anna begged me to sell. For the family. I refused, Dad's pride in my ear. She left angry. I should have seen her greed. My fault for trusting. Now Mark's voice cut through. File the lawsuit. Now. The office smelled of ink and rain. My hands shook, not fear, but fire. The bulldozers weren't done, but neither was I. I sat in my trailer, night pressing in. The bulb dimmed, flickering. Papers piled high, bills, the real deed, Tessa's USB. Rain slowed to a drip. My laptop glowed, Greg's email open. Thanks for cooperating. My fist clenched. I hadn't cooperated. The belt's initials pressed my skin. I'd trusted, lost, but not broken. Mark's words rang, one shot. I stood, keys jangling. The farm was mine. I'd fight. Everything's gone. Would you give up or fight back? Have you hit rock bottom and found a way out? Tell us below. Mark's office smelled of stale coffee. Papers buried, his desk edges curled. Amarillo, 2024. I clutched the real deed, its paper worn. Tessa's USB burned in my pocket. Rain tapped the window, softer now. My boots left mud on the floor. Dad's leather belt hugged my waist buckle, pressing tight. The neon sign buzzed outside, casting a faint glow. My keys jangled as I sat. This was war, and I was arming up. Mark scrolled through the USB's files. His screen glowed, numbers stark. Greg's been skimming, he said. Your farm's funds funneled to his mall. My pulse throbbed. The belt's initials dug into my hip. I saw Anna's smirk, Greg's flask at the memorial. They'd stolen my land, my name. The office's air felt thick like diesel after a long day. I leaned forward. What's our move? Mark's chair creaked. Lawsuit. We expose the fraud. I drove to the farm, dawn breaking. Fields lay, torn bulldozers, silent for now. The barn loomed, paint flaking. I walked inside, hay dust swirling. The safe stood open, its secrets spilled. I spread the deed on a crate, tracing Dad's handwriting. My flashlight caught the belt's buckle glinting. Flashback. 2020. Dad stood here, voice firm. This land's your fight, Ethan. I'd nodded, not understanding. Now I did. I photographed every page. My phone's flash cut the dim. Each shot was ammo, bank records, forged signatures, Greg's emails. My hands steadied, calluses rough against the deed. The tractor's rumble echoed outside, faint. I smelled hay mixed with rain-soaked earth. Anna's lie, filed legal, had gutted me, but Tessa's proof, Mark's plan, lit a fire. The belt creaked as I moved. I wasn't done. I met Tessa at Rusty's diner, jukebox humming low. Her coffee sat, cold hands fidgeting. I found more, she said, voice barely audible. She slid a printed email across. Greg to a contractor, coals out. Mall's on. My throat tightened. The diner's grease hung heavy, neon flickering. You're risking a lot, I said. Tessa's eyes met mine. Your family. I didn't trust her fully, but I took the paper. My boots stuck to the floor. Back at the trailer, night pressed in. The bulb flickered, casting shadows. My desk drowned in papers, bills, the deed, Tessa's email. I opened my laptop, county records loading slow. Greg's filings glared, my forged signature stamped. My fist clenched. The belt's leather warmed my grip. Flashback. 2021. Anna promised loyalty, her hug warm. I'd believed her. Now her betrayal fueled me. The trailer's clock ticked relentless. I called a farmer, Tom, from down the road. His voice was gruff, tired. "Heard about your land, Ethan. We're with you." The line crackled. My trailer smelled of coffee long gone cold. "Need witnesses," I said. Tom grunted. "You got 'em." The belt's buckle pressed my hip. I wasn't alone. The community knew this land knew Dad's fight. My fight now. I worked late sorting proof. My eyes burned, laptops glow harsh. Greg's email haunted, "Thanks for cooperating." I hadn't cooperated. I printed records, stapled them tight. The printer's hum filled the quiet. My boots scuffed the floor, mud flaking. Flashback. 2019. Dad taught me the land's rhythm, plant harvest fight. Anna watched silent. I'd missed her greed. Now I saw clear. The deed's weight grounded me. I drove to the courthouse, dawn's light pale. The building loomed stone cold. I filed the lawsuit papers, heavy in my hand. The clerk's stamp thumped final. My keys jangled as I left. The belt creaked, Dad's mark steady. Anna and Greg thought I'd quit. They didn't know me. The farm's fields flashed in my mind, torn but mine. I'd reclaim them inch by inch. I sat in my pickup, engine off. Rain slowed to a mist. The dashboard's dust caught the light. My phone buzzed. "Mark, it's filed. They'll know soon." My chest tightened, not fear but resolve. The belt's initials pressed my skin. I'd lost the farm, my trust, but not my fight. The land was mine. I'd take it back. Would you risk everything to expose the truth or hold back for family? If you fought for what's yours, how did you start? Share below. The community hall smelled of coffee and wood polish. Amarillo 2024. I held the real deed, its edges worn. Farmers filled the seats, faces, weathered eyes sharp. Anna stood at the front, her smile tight. Greg flanked her suit, crisp flask tucked away. My boots scuffed the floor. Dad's leather belt hugged my waist buckle, pressing hard. My keys jangled in my pocket. The lawsuit was filed. Tonight I'd show them. I stepped to the podium. The mic hummed low. My folder bulged, deed bank records, Tessa's emails. The room quieted. Anna's gaze flicked to Greg, nervous. I didn't smile. My voice stayed steady. "This is my farm's deed. Real one." I held it up. Paper caught the light. Farmers leaned forward. The air smelled of hay carried on their clothes. My belt creaked as I shifted. I laid out the proof. Forged signatures, Greg's secret accounts, my stolen funds. The projector clicked, showing emails. Coal's out. Mall's on. Greg's words stark. A farmer coughed, chair creaking. Anna's face paled, her heels tapping soft. Greg stared at the floor. I kept going. Bank records glowed, numbers damning. My pulse thrummed, not fear but fire. The hall's bulb flickered, casting shadows. Flashback. 2020. Dad spoke here, voice strong. "This land's ours, always." Farmers cheered. Anna sat in back, silent. I'd missed her greed then. Now I saw it clear. My boots gripped the stage. I pointed to Anna. "You filed a lie." Her eyes widened. Greg stepped forward, voice low. "Enough, Ethan." I didn't flinch. The belt's initials burned against me. This was my fight. Tom the farmer stood. "We know coal land." "Ethan's right." Murmurs spread. Faces turned to Anna. She clutched her purse, knuckles white. Greg's jaw clenched. I slid Tessa's email across the podium. Greg bragged about the fraud. The room stirred, voices rising. My keys weighed in my pocket, heavy as truth. The jukebox from Rusty's echoed in my head, that mournful tune. I left the podium. Farmers clapped, slow at first, then loud. Anna slipped out, Greg trailing. The hall's air felt lighter, like rain after drought. I didn't chase them. Proof was out. My pickup waited outside, dust thick under dusk. The belt's leather warmed my grip. I'd cracked their lie wide open. The farm wasn't theirs, never would be. Flashback. 2021. Anna hugged me, promising loyalty. I'd bailed her out, sold my plow. Her warmth was a trap. I'd trusted blood, my weakness. Now my strength was truth. I drove to Rusty's, neon buzzing. Mark sat at the bar, coffee cold. "You shook them," he said, voice gruff. My mug was warm, handle rough. "They're not done," I said. He nodded. "But you are." I sat in my trailer, night thick. The bulb dim, papers piled high. The real deed lay on top, Dad's mark clear. My laptop glowed county filings updated. Greg's mall was stalled investors pulling out. My fist unclenched. The belt's buckle pressed my hip. I'd trusted lost fought. The farm was mine. The courthouse loomed next gavel waiting. Would you expose family to save your legacy or keep the peace? What's driven you to stand up when it cost everything? Share below. The gavel struck sharp final. My farm was mine again. Amarillo 2224. The courthouse smelled of polished wood and dust. Light cut through high windows glinting off my keys. I stood boots firm on the floor. Anna sat across the room, face pale, eyes down. Greg slumped beside her suit, rumpled. My belt hugged my waist, Dad's initials, pressing my hip. The real deed, now legal, rested in my hand. The judge's voice echoed. Fraud proven. Land restored to Ethan Cole. Farmers in the back nodded, faces hard. Tessa stood near the door, arms crossed, silent. Mark sat beside me, tie loose, his nod steady. The air felt heavy like fields before rain. My pulse slowed, not from relief but resolve. I'd fought, won. The belt's leather warmed my grip, Dad's mark alive. Anna's lawyer stood, papers shaking. We'll appeal, he said, voice thin. The judge waved him off. Greg's eyes met mine, burning, but he said nothing. I didn't look away. My boots scuffed the bench, mud flaking. The forged deed, Anna's lie, had crumbled. Tessa's USB, my photos, the farmer's words, all weighed heavier than their defense. The courtroom's clock ticked loud in the quiet. Flashback. 2020. Dad walked the field, sun low. This is yours, Ethan. Fight for it. Anna lingered by the barn, silent. I'd missed her greed, my weakness trusting blood. Now my strength was truth. The judge's gavel rested still. I saw Anna's smirk from the memorial, Greg's flask. They'd stolen my land, my name. I'd taken it back clean. I walked to the farm, keys jangling. The gate stood open, bulldozers gone. Fields lay torn but mine. I locked the gate, metal clanging. The sound hit me final like Dad's voice. My pickup sat dusty, loyal. Hay dust swirled in the breeze, catching noonlight. I held the deed paper heavy. Anna's confession came late, whispered in court. I'm sorry, Ethan. Too late. I didn't answer. Mark met me at Rusty's jukebox, humming low. You did it, he said, coffee steaming. My mug was warm, handle rough. Not done yet, I said. The diner smelled of grease and whiskey. Greg's mall was dead, investors gone. Anna's name tainted followed her. My chest ached, not for them, but for Dad. I'd kept his promise. The belt creaked as I leaned back. I drove home, trailer's bulb flickering. Papers piled on my desk, deed bills, a new plan. The land trust would protect the farm, keep it coal. My laptop glowed, news spreading, local farmer wins fraud case. My fist unclenched. The belt's initials pressed my skin. I'd lost family trust but gained truth. The fields outside breathe alive again. Flashback, 2019. Anna begged for cash, eyes soft. I sold my tractor, saved her. Her hug was a lie. I'd trusted lost. Now I stood tall. The trailer's clock ticked steady. My keys lay beside the deed, scratch but mine. Justice wasn't loud. It was this, my land, my name reclaimed. I locked the gate in my mind, Anna and Greg outside. Would you forgive family after winning justice, or cut them off for good? What's the cost of reclaiming what's yours? Share below. I stood by the gate, coffee gone cold in my mug. Amarillo 2024. The trust sign gleamed under dawn's light, coal land trust. My boots sank into the earth field, stretching wide, alive again. Dad's leather belt hung in the barn, its buckle still a quiet sentinel. The air carried hay and diesel, steady like a heartbeat. My keys rested light in my hand, scratched but sure. The farm was mine, not just land, but truth. Farmers worked nearby, their tractors humming low. The trust gave them fields, a stake in our roots. I'd lost Anna, Greg, years of trust, but gained this, a legacy Dad would have proud of. Flashback. 2018. He walked these fields, voice firm. It's yours, Ethan. I'd kept that promise, not for him, but for me. The barn's shadow stretched long, paint peeling, standing tall. Tessa's visit lingered in my mind. Her quiet nod by the barn, her apology in court. We weren't close, but blood didn't bind us anymore. Choice did. Rusty's jukebox played in my head, that cash tune, mournful but strong. I sipped coffee, its bitterness soft now. The trust wasn't just land. It was proof you can rebuild even after betrayal cuts deep. Mark's words at the diner echoed. You're changing things, Ethan. My mug had warmed my hands, then diner grease thick in the air. Farmers at the counter spoke of crops, their voices warm. My land fed them, not a mall's concrete. The belt's absence felt right. I'd carried its weight long enough. My trailer's bulb glowed steady now, papers piled with trust plans, not pain. I walked the fields sunrise, painting them gold. The gate's lock clicked shut behind me, metal cool. Flashback, 2020. Anna's plea to sell her eyes hard. I'd refused, blind to her greed. Now I saw clear. The trust was my answer, not just morning light spilled across the fields, my coffee mug warm in my hand. Amarillo 2024. The Coal Land Trust sign stood firm, hay swaying gentle in the breeze. My boots crunched on gravel, steady rooted. Dad's leather belt hung in the barn, its buckle still a quiet anchor. Farmers' tractors hummed their work tied to this land, our land. My keys rested light in my pocket, no longer heavy with loss. I'd lost blood, trust, years, but I'd reclaim my name, my place. Closure wasn't vengeance. The gate clicked shut, dawn's light warming my keys in hand. True strength is standing tall after betrayal. If you've ever fought to reclaim your truth, share your story below. You are not alone. Every ending is a chance to begin again. Subscribe to Revenge with Chris for more true stories of closure and reclaiming your legacy.